This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33, verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is his treasure. Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rachakudash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and just got done watching the live from the elder apostle Gabar. Okay, and I believe the title was let me just go back to it. All right, it was a live I just watched. Okay, and the title was Topics of Importance. Okay, and basically in the video, he mentioned something real key that I actually had no idea was actually a thing, because you have a lot of information regarding what we have today, the place that we're in today, America, the state of America, and a lot of people don't even understand, all right, that America is not even a country, all right, it's actually a corporation. Okay, it's a private corporation that is owned by the central bankers. Okay, within the lesson, he was going into Aaron Russo, okay, who was he had an interview with this guy. Damn, why is his name just slipping my mind like that? Alex Jones, that's right. Okay, Tuwaria Bashmi Shai. So he was having this interview with Alex Jones, all right, and basically he was giving out all the gems, all right, all the plans of the elites, all right, the discussion that he had with Nick Rockefeller, all right, on how they're trying to implement a new world order, and by doing that, they're going to be able to implant, all right, micro-implant a lot of people, basically the whole entire world, and that's how they're going to be able to control, all right, the masses. Okay, but within that, within the video, all right, the key thing that I want to highlight, all right, was that back in 1933, okay, underneath FDR, all right, American citizens, all right, or the American people, all right, were classified as enemies of the state. Okay, and hence we have all these different things I've been able to go through, all right, in terms of legislation, all right, that goes against the so-called Constitution. Okay, and it goes against the American people. Now you have these people who swear in and say that they're gonna protect and defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. Okay, but little do they know that the enemies that they're swearing in are against are actually the American people. Okay, so I want to go into this real quick. I actually looked it up and I actually found something on it. I want to do a quick lesson on it. The spirit is hitting me, so I might as well just go into it. All right, and Lord willing, it be edifying unto the elect. All right, so it says here, U.S. citizens, otherwise known as Babylonians, all right, were classified as enemies of the state in 1933. Okay, and when you go back into was it 1871? All right, the Act of 1871. All right, America was changed from a government, all right, to a corporation. Okay, by changing one word. Okay, it used to be the Constitution for the United States. All right, and then after the Act of 1871, it became the Constitution of the United States. Okay, so they went from making a Constitution for the people, and it became a Constitution, all right, of the body, which is the corporation. All right, there's set guidelines and rules and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's read. It says in 1933, the federal United States hypothecated all of the present and future properties, assets, and labor of their quote-unquote subjects, the 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, to the Federal Reserve System. Okay, the Federal Reserve System, and that is the banking, all right, sector. Okay, so basically everyone became a slave, all right, to the Federal Reserve System. Hence, you have a social security number. Okay, you have a birth certificate. Okay, and so on and so forth. Right? What is the 14th? What is a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen? The 14th Amendment was put in place during an extremely turbulent time just after the Civil War. It was supposedly passed to free the slaves. However, it made all Americans, or all American persons who were at the time New Yorkers, Virginians, Pennsylvanians, etc., under the jurisdiction of a central federal government for the first time. Okay? Section 1, it says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Now you notice the key word there was what? The law, the law which shall abridge the privileges, not rights, but privileges, meaning they can be taken away. Okay? When you have rights, that means you're a sovereign, meaning you don't have any authority. You are the authority, or the Most High is your authority, period. Okay? When you have privileges, that means man is the authority and he gives you what you can and cannot have. Okay, now let's look up the word privilege. Okay, let's look up the word privilege, because in order to understand these devils and how they actually operate, you have to actually do a diligent search, because they do a diligent search. Okay, it says privilege to grant, right, or to commission. All right, to grant some. So basically, you're giving somebody permission to do something. That means you are in a stance of authority, and they have to adhere to what you say. Okay, it says an ordinance in favor of an individual. Okay, that's what a privilege is. All right, it says power or prerogative associated with a certain social or religious position. Okay, an advantage granted. Okay, a special right or favor, right? Favor granted to a person or group, right? So we understand that privileges are not anything that you can always have. They can be always taken away from you, right? That is what these so-called laws, these constitutional so-called rights, they should really be called constitutional privileges. You see, but if they were to say that, then the people will be like, we don't want that. You see? It says, Section 4, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. It says, we cannot, however, forget the 14th Amendment was not lawfully passed. This fact was exposed in the Congressional Record, and then they give you the Congressional Record, which was back in 1967. All right. So let's keep reading. It says, the people are the enemy, right? Just like the Apostle Gabar was saying, okay, that they made the American people the enemy. So you got now, you fast forward to the year 2022. All right, it's 144. Brak the Yabashim Yal. That's the time right now, right? When you go into the things that's happening right now, okay, that's why these devils are able to sign legislations and basically put people in distress. And these people have no way to combat it, because when you look to your left or to your right, you see that you're going into the same direction. All right, that's because they both work for the same entity. Okay, remember, the government, all right, going into the word, and the Apostle Gabor actually broke it down as well. Okay, govern means to what? To control, and then the ment going into your mind. Okay, so control of mind, or mind control. Now, the government was actually created, all right, to settle problems between the elites, and also to quell, all right, the uprisings of the people. Basically, to control the minds of the people. That's all it is. Okay, that's why you have voting. Oh, we can do this for you, we can do that for you. They can sway the human, the public mind, the public opinion from left to right. Every 4 to 8 years, you have a different tune, which is going to lead you to the same band. It's going to lead you to the same destination, but you're going to go about it 2 different ways. Okay, whether Trump or Biden, this was always going to be the end result. Everything that's going on in America right now has been planned since was it 1874? No, 1774. All right, back with what's this guy's name? Adam Weishaupt. Okay, with the whole creation of the so-called Illuminati. Okay, meaning the enlightened ones, so-called enlightened ones. Okay, and when you look on the dollar bill, all right, they have all these different terms and different symbols and different things that are written in Latin to let you know that the very currency in which they use, the currency, which is what? The energy, the flow of what? Power, money, control. The energy that they come in is from the energy from the Roman Empire, because Rome used to speak what? Latin. Okay, so they show you in so many different ways, but yet people don't really pick up on it. All right, that's why it's called hidden. It's called esoteric. Okay. Here it says, since March the 9th, 1933, right, the United States has been in a state of declared national emergency, right? Under the powers delegated by these statutes, the president may seize property, organize and control the means of production, seize commodities, assign military forces abroad, institute martial law, seize and control all transportation and communication, regulate the operation of private enterprise, restrict travel, and control the lives of all American citizens. That is why everyone went through what we went through the past 2 years, because under national emergency, they have all the powers to do these things. And yet, we're still under a national emergency. Okay? It says this situation has continued absolutely uninterrupted since March 9th, 1933. We have been in a state of declared national emergency for nearly 63 to 85 years without knowing it. Okay? According to current laws, as found in 12 USC, our United States Code Section 95B, everything the President or the Secretary of the Treasury has done since March 4th, 1933, okay, is automatically approved, right? Quote, the actions, regulations, rules, licenses, orders, and proclamations heretofore or hereafter taken, promulgated, made, or issued by the President of the United States or the Secretary of the Treasury since March 4th, 1933, pursuant to the authority conferred by subsection B of Section 5 of the Act of October 6, 1917, as amended 12 USCS Section 95A, are hereby approved and confirmed. March 9th, 1933. Okay? On March 4th, 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt was inaugurated, right? When you inaugurate, meaning to conjure up a spirit, all right, a demon, okay? To inaugurate, okay? It says was inaugurated as president, okay? And you only have presidents in a corporation, okay? It says on March 9th, 1933, Congress approved in a special session his proclamation 2038 that became known as the Act of March 9, 1933. And this is what it says. Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled that the Congress hereby declares that a serious national emergency exists and that it is imperatively necessary speedily to put into effect remedies to uniform national application. Okay? This is an example of the rule of necessity, a rule of law where necessity knows no law, right? And that's what's happening right now. Okay? Do away with your rights, your constitutions, your liberties, whatever you think you have, and go along with the plan for the greater good. Okay? That is why you have the Supreme Court, okay, and you have the let me just say it this way, you have the judicial branch and you have the executive branch working together alongside the legislative branch. You have all three branches of government working together against the enemies of the state, which are known as the American people, going all the way back to 1933. Okay? So you might have somebody in Congress, you think, oh, this guy represents me. No, he doesn't. Okay? It's just an illusion that he represents you. That's why America is known. People think of America as a democracy. It's actually known as a democratic republic. Okay? Just like Rome was a republic, America is a democratic republic, meaning the people get to decide, but not directly. Because in a democracy, it's direct. The people is it for the people, by the people, with the people, something like that to that effect? Okay? By the people, for the people, and then there's something else. All right? That's a democracy. Direct, mob rule. All right? The people are in control of who they elect, all right, into power and so on and so forth. But in a democratic republic, you pick people who represent you, okay? And they're the ones who get to decide what's good for you and what's not, right? So it says here, this is an example of the rule of necessity, a rule of law where necessity knows no laws, right? This rule was invoked to remove the authority of the Constitution. So since 1933, the Constitution really hasn't really been there for American people, you know? So that should tell you something, okay? That because of a national emergency, your constitutions are null and void, okay? Chapter 1, Title 1, Section 48, Statute 1 of this Act of March 9th, 1933 is the exact same wording as Title 12, USC 95B, quoted earlier, proving that we are still under the rule of necessity in a declared state of national emergency. All right? Okay, so let's continue. It says, let's see here. It says, this act originally excluded citizens of the United States, but in the Act of March 9th, 1933, Section 2 amended this to include, quote, any person within the United States or any place subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So if you're in Puerto Rico, you get affected by this. If you're in Hawaii, you get affected by this. If you're in Alaska, you get affected by this. Okay? It says it was here that every American citizen literally became an enemy to the United States government under declaration. You hear that? So the apostle wasn't wrong when he said what he said. You know, and at the end of the video, at the end of the lesson, what did he say? He said, yo, if you want to learn the truth, you really want to know what's really going on, current events, prophecy, history, all right, whatever it is that's going to lead to your salvation, you got to watch the apostles from the apostle Tahar on down, the men of Great Millstone and the brothers who, you know, go according to teachings and the doctrine of Yahushua, which is taught by the men and apostles of Great Millstone, man. Okay? We believe that through the Spirit. It's a gift that the Lord has given us. He said, well, my sheep heareth my voice and they do follow me. Okay? So if Yahushua was on the earth right now, physically, all right, in the flesh, what church do you think he would be in? Okay? All right? You gotta look at this through the Spirit. Okay? It ain't about being flashy or whatever it is. It's about the truth. Period. That's it. All right? It says, according to the current memorandum of American cases and recent English cases, on the law of trading with the enemy, we have no personal rights at law in any court, and all rights of enemy, all American citizens, are all declared enemies. To sue in the courts are suspended, whereby the public good must prevail over private gain. All right. This also provides for the taking over of enemy private property, and that's all written in the FEMA executive orders. Okay, they have the ability to seize all travel, all telecommunication, okay, property, and so on and so forth. Okay, it says, now we know why we no longer receive allodial freehold title to our land. As enemies, our property is no longer ours to have. Okay, the only way we can do business or any type of legal trade is to obtain permission, right, from our government by means of a license, right? That is why you have to get a license to drive. That is why you have to get a permit or a license to go fishing or hunting or own a gun, whatever it might be. Okay? Because you're an enemy. You're no more sovereign. Okay? So who initiated all of these emergency powers? Again, the abominable Federal Reserve. Okay, and that goes all the way back to, was it 1913? Okay, on Jekyll Island. All right, with Woodrow Wilson. Okay, so it says on March 3rd, 1933, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York adopted a resolution stating that the withdrawal of currency and gold from the banks had created a national emergency, and the quote, Federal Reserve Board is hereby requested to urge the President of the United States to declare a bank holiday Saturday, March 4th and Monday, March 6th. And that's heavy. Monday, March 6th. Hey, brother, if you're watching this video, you already know what that means. It says, Roosevelt was told to close down the banking system. He did so with Proclamation 2039 under the excuse of alleged unwarranted hoarding of gold by Americans. You hear that? Yo, they've been doing the same shit all the way back since the 1930s, man. 1800s, 1700s. Scripture says there's no new thing under the sun. Okay? So now you're starting to see, if the government is deeming the American people the enemies, then who should the American people should be looking at as the enemies? Your government. Okay? Your United States government is preparing to cause a complete purge, all right, of over 90% of the American population. They're in the process of doing that now. And yet you still have people just sleeping and chilling and just knock the hell out. You know? It says, then with Proclamation 2040, he declared on March 9, 1933, the existence of a national bank emergency, whereas, quote, all proclamations wheretofore or hereafter issued by the President pursuant to the authority conferred by Section 5B of the Act of October 6, 1917, as amended, are approved and confirmed. Once an emergency is declared, there is no common law and the Constitution is automatically abolished. You hear that? We are no longer under law, meaning in a lawlessness society, anarchy. Law has been abolished. We are under a system of war powers. Okay? And who are they going to war against? The American people. Now they've been doing it. There's something called silent weapons for quiet wars. Okay? And they've been having war against the American people for so long. Okay? But now it's going to go from covert to overt. Okay? Meaning hidden to open. Okay? They've been going to war with the people through the food system, all right, the school system, the water, everything you could think of. All right? The media, the politics, whatever it is. But now it's about to become, look, we're coming at you with the military industrial complex. All right? Like Eisenhower was talking about, all right, that's the one thing that people should look out for. Okay? That it's become a powerful entity, all right, that takes a lot of funding. Okay? The military industrial complex. And that's who they're going to use, all right, to bring about this order in the time of the chaos that we're heading into. Okay? Everything is planned. They're just signing executive orders to make sure that when they officially declare that state of emergency, all right, or national emergency to the public, okay, because people don't know about it. So once they finally officially come out and say it, it's go time. Okay, it's go time. All right, it says, our stocks, bonds, houses, and land can be seized as Americans are considered enemies of the state. All right, what we have is not ours under the war powers given to the president, who is a commander-in-chief of the military war machine. All right, whenever any president proclaims that the national emergency has ended, all war powers shall cease to be in effect. Congress can do nothing without the president's signature because Congress granted him these emergency powers. Okay, executive orders, right? It says for over 60 to 80 years, no president has been willing to give up his extraordinary power and terminate the original proclamation. United States citizens are all enemies subject to tribunal district courts under martial law wartime jurisdiction, a constitutional dictatorship. Okay, here's a proof. 50 U.S. Code 1701 section SS 1701. It says unusual and extraordinary threat, declaration of national emergency, exercise of presidential authorities. A. Any authority granted to the United States, or let's just say any authority granted to the president by section 1702 of this title may be exercised to deal with any unusual and extraordinary threat. So what does that mean? Go back and watch videos that brothers have been doing, all right, on what the DHS, all right, is coming out and saying. All right, now they just look, they're labeling. Not only do they have you as enemies, but they're giving you titles and labeling you. Some are domestic terrorists, all right, some are extremist groups, okay, and so on and so forth, man. All right. It says, to deal with any unusual or extraordinary threat, which has its source in whole or substantial part outside the United States to the national security, foreign policy, or economy of the United States, if the president declares a national emergency with respect to such threat. So the men of the Lord getting spiritual power, that's a form of extraordinary threat that they're going to deem as an emergency, a national emergency. Okay, the return of our Lord, that's the ultimate emergency. We're not even talking about national emergency. That's going to be DEFCON 5. You know, DEFCON right there. Is it DEFCON 1 or DEFCON 5? I forget how it goes, but actually, you know what? 1 second, I'll be right back. Let's verify that. Okay, so what they have is let me see if I can find it here. All right, DEFCON 1. Okay, because you go from DEFCON, which DEFCON simply means defense condition. Okay, which is basically a system that tracks the United States military state of readiness. So if we're in a time of DEFCON 5, that means that we're in peacetime. All right. And when you go to DEFCON 4, 3, 2, 1, when you get to DEFCON 1, you're in complete global war. Okay. So the return of our Lord Yahushua is going to be DEFCON 1 on all fronts. Okay. For these people, that is. All right. And that's wartime. That's global wartime right there. Okay. So there you go. But right now, once the men of the Lord get that spiritual power, they're going to deem it as some type of DEFCON situation, defense condition, some type of military readiness. All right. That is why you have precepts like Isaiah 59 and 19. OK, so we're talking these devils know they study the scriptures. They understand what time it is. And then when we started to come out and talk about these things, they knew, oh, yeah, it's game on. All right. It's game on. OK, so you got these jakes walking around. All right, talking about, oh, there ain't gonna be no end of the world. I was watching the elder Manas Zakba's video, all right, and I believe he did that video a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken. It was probably before the C19 or during like a few months after that. But you got Jake just oblivious, man. They're just so gone. And they speak with such ignorance, but in pride. It's such a confusing, concept. Number one, you're ignorant, and number two, you're prideful about your ignorance. It's just, I don't know how that's gonna be really effective, but the only thing I can see is resulting in pain, suffering, and death ultimately, for people like that, right? But let's keep going. It says here, B, the authorities granted to the president by section 1702 of this title may only be exercised to deal with an unusual and extraordinary threat, with respect to which a national emergency has been declared for purposes of this chapter and may not be exercised for any other purpose. Okay? An exercise of such authorities to deal with any new threat shall be based on a new declaration of national emergency, which must be with respect to such threat. Okay? So now, starting 2020, I believe Trump, okay, he exercised a national emergency, right? Now, that was because of what? C-19. They deemed that as a bioterrorist attack, or a so-called, a virological attack or whatever. Okay, a chemical, whatever. But they deemed that as a threat that was, worthy of having a national emergency. Okay, and I believe shortly after Biden was in power, he also reenacted, or at least renewed, okay, that national emergency act that Trump had already signed in, or actually called for. Okay, so in other words, we are still under a national emergency. Okay, by law, there are certain things they can do to the people because the Constitution is basically null and void at this point. Okay, that is why they're coming after your so-called First Amendment right, which is a privilege. Okay, they're coming for your Second Amendment privilege and also your Fourth Amendment privilege. All right. So when you put those three things together, in other words, you're open for attack. Remember, you are the enemy. So when they wage war openly on the American people, it's constitutional. They can do that. It's lawful. Okay, not constitutional, but it's lawful. Okay. Right here, it says, right here. It says Trump renewed the state of emergency due to the war on terror on October 20th, 2017, with Executive Order 13814, all right, or 13814. Okay, and then, like I said, Biden came in and he renewed that. He continued that. All right, under what? War on terror. Okay, war on terror. And in this case, like I said, the DHS, they coming out and saying who's going to be deemed a terrorist or an enemy of the state. Those who come against the narrative of the government, or you speak against the government, or whatever it is. If you're coming against whatever the narrative is, you are deemed a terrorist. You are deemed an enemy of the state. So we're in those times, man. All right, we are in those times. Okay, we are in those times. As a matter of fact, this is how this thing is going to be closed out. Okay, this is about to be bloodshed like never before. All right, and they're setting it all up, man. And we've been bringing this out for years. Okay, this is a book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." So they've been setting this up since 1933, making the Americans who? The enemies. Okay, and when you're deemed as an enemy, and they tell you that we need to take away your guns, you know what that means, or at least you should know what that means. All right. Hey, so hey, we in those times, man. Here it is. All right, and we're gonna keep on being vigilant. All right, because the time of salvation is at hand. But before the salvation comes the destruction of you wicked ass people out there. All right, and it's all being done by design of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it off there low and even edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, and Thawada for this knowledge. Thawada Yah Bahasham Yahushai for this truth and for this knowledge, man, like we read in Isaiah 33:6. All right, so low and even edified. Once again, Thawada Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, Koholo Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, and until next time, Shabbat Shalom.